Are you a buyer who's waiting around and hoping that the housing market will plummet and maybe then you can take a leap to purchase something? Or a seller who's been exhausted and tired that your property hasn't sold within the past few months? Well, we're going to take a look at how you can change things around and what you should be doing, because we're seeing a significant change in Ottawa's housing market, especially in the past 3 to 4 weeks. We'll talk about what you need to be doing and more in this episode of Ottawa Real Estate Buzz. So as always, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, click that icon button, and to like this video. So let's get going. So let me tell you why you should be buying and why you should be selling right now. You should be buying because there's a lot of other buyers who are standing on the sidelines and starting to get confident in getting back into things and purchasing homes because the Bank of Canada has decided to hold the rates for the time being. And considering the rates we're seeing right now, which are significantly higher than before last year this time, still buyers are going at it because the prices are still low compared to last year. So we've had a drop in declining prices and they want to take advantage of that. And you should take advantage of that too, because we are beginning to see multiple offers happening yet again. And the average sale price is climbing up drastically where we were last year around August, July-ish, okay? And at the same time, contractors and builders are pulling back on the new builds, so the inventory is becoming lesser and lesser as we speak, as the days are going by, okay? And you should be selling and re-strategizing your whole advertisement and the way you're putting yourselves in front of buyers, because if you've been sitting on the market for several months, there's something off here. It's either the home should be presentable, maybe it needs updates that with a few $1,000s, if you're capable of doing so, you need to do that and then put it back in the market. Because what we're seeing right now is that properties that show well, that are introduced to the market, with what we're seeing with the number of buyers and the lesser inventories, we're seeing a good turnaround as far as the activity goes. We're getting multiple bids happening. Buyers are willing to provide attractive offers, and now again we're seeing offers without conditions. I'm really surprised, and I was thinking perhaps something like this would happen towards the end of 2023, but it's happening now. And I believe from both sides, for a seller's perspective, you need to strategize and remarket yourself to be more presentable, whether it's renovations, advertisement, marketing, and so on. And as a buyer, to take advantage of this situation where the average price is climbing up, to secure something, because we are more and more seeing the number of days is dropping, the number of days on the market for homes, and this will give you an advantage to be able to get something and secure something regardless of your closing date. So that will give you a peace of mind for financing and so on that needs to be done, okay? So we'll take a look at the numbers now to provide you with a better idea. And first Ottawa and surrounding, and then we get more specific with each category. And we added a new segment now where I'm gonna present to you the average rent as well per month. And it's very interesting to see because the rental market is really turning around, as we always indicated in the previous episodes, that we will see a change in the rental market eventually, and we are seeing it now. From this point on, I believe it will be continuous. So take a look at the month of April 2023. For the residential class, the number of sales for 2022, we had 1,408 units, and the 2023, 1,156. So that's a decline of almost 18%. And looking at the residential freehold average sale price for 2022, we were at 828,000 approximately, and 2023 747,000. That's a drop of 10%. Now this is Ottawa and surrounding. When we get more specific into these categories, you'll see that the numbers are slightly higher, the average, okay? And looking at the condominiums for Ottawa region and surrounding, for number of sales, 468 units in 2022 versus 332 units for 2023, and that's a drop of 29% approximately. And for the condominiums, the average sale price for 2020 was 474,000 approximate, and for 2023 436,000. And again, with those numbers as well, it'll be different. We'll be focused more with Ottawa centrally, and that's a change of minus 8% approximately. Okay, now taking a look at the residential freeholds, and that is the list price versus sold price numbers. And looking at the month of April 2023, look at this, inventory is dropping now, okay, and the number of sales is increasing. And we had 1,149 active units, whereas 861 sold units. And look, comparing to the previous months, we're really escalating here. And looking at the previous year obviously was the other around. It was a whole different market, and we had 1,002 sold units and 838 active listings. But again, as we take a look at the different charts, we will see that we may easily get to where we were before. Okay, looking at the list price versus sold price ratio, and looking at April, and this is with the consideration that the average list price is also climbing up gradually because the number of sale amounts are going up. The list prices are gradually increasing in accordance and ratio with that as well. So we're at 98.7%, so almost asking for April, whereas it was 110% approximately last year. Okay, taking a look at the average sale per month, and this is very interesting, and you need to take note of this. For April, we're at 798,000 approximately, and we are where we were right about June, July of last year, and we're rapidly getting up there. Taking a look at the previous months, you can tell. Obviously, our peak, looking at where we were in April of last year, was 886, but we're really not that far off right now. Okay. Take a look at the number of days. Again, the home stays on the market, residential freehold, and look how drastically since January we've dropped from 41 days to 23 days for a home. It takes a home to sell. Obviously not comparable to last year, which was a whole different market, which was 8 days year over year, but still it's something promising for sellers, and at the same time for those buyers who would want to take advantage of this situation, or investors who would want to buy now and for properties to appreciate in the months or years to come. Now, taking a look at the condominium market, we're seeing a similar trend happening with the condos, more gradual as it is the nature with condominiums. And looking at the number of lists versus solds, April 2023, we've had 302 sold units and 562 actives. Now, this is basically fluctuating milder than the residential freeholds. And looking at the year over year, it was a bit the other way around. For April 2022, we had 383 active units and 448 sold units. Now, let's take a look at the condominiums, the list versus sold ratio, and the condo market. The average prices are slowly climbing as well, not as much as the residential freeholds that we're seeing, but this shows us that in April we're seeing a 97.9%, so almost asking, which is very good. And looking at the previous year, the 107%, different market, but this is really promising. Condominiums average sale price, and this is key to note as well. Look at this, April, 445,000. We've pretty much surpassed last October, and not as high as year over year, which was 479,000 last April, but still, again, not far off. So if you are in the market for condominium units too, condos have proven themselves now as pretty much good investments, because they really kept the price range, and with all the pressures, external pressures, they handled well, because they provided affordability because of the price range when people were under pressure for a market that was heated for freehold residential. A lot of people, sought refuge in condominiums, and that's why it just kept. And it's really interesting that we are seeing condominiums which are regularly, because of the condo fees. It's got condo fees, or it just adds to my cost. But the appreciation, the value, it's kept. And again, all goes back to condominiums, what condominium complex it is, how healthy the reserve fund is. And I can explain all that one-on-one over a cup of coffee to you guys, because I can pinpoint exactly what part of the city you want to go after, and what kind of condominium complex to pursue in order to have a somewhat of a control over the cost of that condominium fee appreciation, gradual appreciation over time. Okay, taking a look at the condominium days on the market now. Look, similar to residential freeholds, it's a drop. April to 32 days now, and a significant drop from January, which was 46 days. Obviously, over a year, still not that comparable, because April last year was 10 days for condos. Okay. So now the rental market, and this is very interesting, because this is what I've been talking about within the past episodes, and finally the turnaround. And I haven't seen this trend for some time now, where the inventory for rental is actually less than the rented units. So for April, we have 509 rented units and 467 active listings. And this shows me that, yes, we have a lot of immigration. People are coming into the city, newcomers. We have relocations, military happening as always. And we may have buyers who have opted to renting instead of purchasing, hoping that the prices will decline, and I'll take my time. In 6 months, a year, or 2 years, I'll go buy something, and that'll be more affordable. And I'll make a note on that for buyers who are waiting. And know this much, that if our economy drops and we are near recession, and in exchange or relevancy to that, the prices drop significantly, then know this much, that in such a case and event, banks are very, very cautious and careful in terms of what they lend out. And it gets to a point where they will stop lending out. There are currently one or two of the major banks that are significantly have drawn back their lending. And this is the result of that, is that don't think that the prices will plummet and then you will go and tell the bank, okay, now I want to buy, and they're gonna just give you that funding, and it's gonna be all dandy. But it's just not gonna happen that way. It pretty much it's a vicious cycle, where if you are cautious, the banks are more cautious, and that they will not fund as easily. It will be much more difficult to get funding. The qualifications will be much more difficult to surpass with lenders if we face such a scenario. So that you should keep in mind if you're opting to rent at the moment, to wait and see what's going to happen. Okay? So looking at the previous year or the previous months, look, for example, October and November 2022. At November, we were at 884 active units. Obviously, with the rentals, it is a seasonal trend, but we've never seen a lack of inventory to this extent. So again, for investors too, this is a good indicator if you are looking to purchase something for investment. Okay, all right. So looking at the rentals now, this is a new section that I've added in, which is interesting, and we'll have this from this point on, and that's the average rent. Okay, and for April, we're at 2,633, whereas last year, we were at 2,513. So we are peaking again on average rent as well, and this is an interesting chart to review from this point on. The unit rental sits on the market 25 days for April, down from 36 in January, and year over year we're the same. So not a lot has changed in the number of days a unit sits on the market for a rental, yet the prices are increasing, the inventory of rentals are dropping, and it will be a much more difficult market for those looking to rent, because now, due to the lag, and if this inventory lowers in the months to come, it's only one way we can analyze this, and that's the prices of the rental price will increase. Okay, so I believe we are in a transitional phase right now. Yes, it is a delicate market. Yes, there is still uncertainty. There's always a possibility of Bank of Canada, increasing the rates. But as long as the inflation is dropping, it's very unlikely. And at the same time, the Bank of Canada is really assessing the situation so that they don't push too much, so that we're faced with a head-on or full-on recession. So that's something that needs to be analyzed much more carefully now at this state. And let's say that they do not touch the rates because of the lack of inventory, more confident buyers, and the builders scaling back because of materials and their confidence that they want to ensure that buyers will be buying so that they start building. Because of that gap that has happened, lack of production, then it will put pressure on the resale market as well. We got immigration happening as well, relocations and military and so on. So from in my opinion, I feel that this is something, a new reality we should be facing. Ottawa is a changing market, perhaps. For a capital, compared to most capitals, we have been facing a much more calm or gradual growth in the past decades, but we've come to a point where a lot of values are discovered, and hence people deciding to reside in this beautiful city of ours, and that is something that we have to come in terms with and plan for, from the municipal, provincial, and federal levels. And I think from the municipal changing or allowance of zoning changes is significant, to speed up that permit process for builders. That's significant, for the provincial level to provide incentives for builders, and as well as their communication with the municipals and the federal level, to analyze and strategize their funding towards affordable housing. Those are things that I believe needs to get done on those levels. And after watching this episode, if you feel like you still have more questions, I'd love to answer them over a cup of coffee in person, or by email, phone call, text, anything. I'm always available, more than happy to assist in any way possible. And as always, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, click that bell icon, and like this video. Until next time, take care.